But I think we probably are are in a recession, and that recession will get worse. But these things pass, and then there will be boom times again. So it'll probably be some tough going for, I don't know, a year, maybe 12 to 18 months is usually the amount of time that it takes for a correction to happen.
Billionaire investor Elon Musk recently shared his thoughts on the economy and potential of a recession. He confirmed that he did in fact believe that a recession was imminent, but says that it's a good thing for the workforce, recently tweeting out, "It has been raining money on fools for too long. Some bankruptcies need to happen," and says that all the stay-at-home stuff has tricked people into thinking that you don't actually need to work hard. Rude awakening inbound. Based on past experience, about 12 to 18 months, companies that are inherently negative cash flow need to go away so that they stop consuming resources. Analysts have recently stated that the US economy is more likely to enter a recession as a result of persistently high inflation rates and supply chain disruptions. Here is Elon's take on the current economy. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here on this channel. Let's get right into the video.
Where do you think the economy is headed right now? Do you think we're in a recession, or is it just a risk? How do you assess our current economic situation?
Well, predicting macroeconomics is always difficult, and one should assign probabilities to these things. But ironically, I did last year. People asked me what I think about the economy. I said, well, I think we might enter a recession in approximately spring of 2022.
Called it. Nailed it.
Yeah. Now, the thing is that recessions are not necessarily a bad thing. I've now been through a few of them, and what tends to happen is if you have a boom that goes on for too long, you get misallocation of capital. It starts raining money on fools, basically. It's like any dumb thing gets money, and I'm sure you've seen a few of those. At some point, it gets just out of control, and you just have a misallocation of human capital, where people are doing things that are silly and not useful to their fellow human beings. And then those companies, there needs to be sort of an economic enema, if you will, to have everyone sort of shift uncomfortably in their seats. But eventually the economic enema does its job. It clears out the pipes, if you will.
Yes.
and sort of the companies go bankrupt, and the ones that are doing useful products are prosperous. And but there's certainly a lesson here that if one is making useful product and has a company that makes sense, make sure you're not running things too close to the edge from a capital standpoint, that you've got some capital reserves to last through irrational times. Because in the past, when there's been a recession, it has gone, it's amazing, it's flipped like a light switch. If it is a recession, which more likely than not, it is a recession, I'm not saying it is, but it probably is, then just watch your cash flow and get to positive cash flow as soon as you can.
Elon says that he believes the recession will get worse before it gets better, and that the correction will happen somewhere between a year and a half. He does acknowledge that this was caused by the government printing too much money, and says that if they keep doing it, the dollar won't be worth anything.
But I think we probably are in a recession, and that recession will get worse. But these things pass, and then there will be boom times again. But it'll probably be some tough going for, I don't know, a year, maybe 12 to 18 months is usually the amount of time that it takes for a correction to happen. I mean, what do you guys think?
It feels like it started. What started as a slowdown earlier this year now seems like, technically, I guess we need 2 quarters of negative growth to be in a recession, but it feels like we're in one. It feels like it started. The growth stock, the software businesses that we invest in are sort of the canaries in the coal mine. And there's a lot of dead canaries. Maybe not dead, but
They're having a hard time breathing.
Yeah.
I'm not dead yet.
It's not dead. It's just napping. I mean, the obvious reason for inflation is that the government printed a zillion amount of more money than it had. So it's like the government can't just have issued checks far in excess of revenue without there being inflation. Velocity of money held constant. So unless there's something would change with velocity of money, but it's just if the federal government writes checks, they never bounce. So that is effectively creation of more dollars. And if there are more dollars created, then the increase in the goods and services output of the economy, then you have inflation. Again, velocity of money held constant. This is very basic. This is not like super complicated. And if the government could just issue massive amounts of money and deficits didn't matter, then why don't we just make the deficit 100 times bigger? Okay, yeah. The answer is you can't, because it will basically turn the dollar into something that is worthless. And various countries have tried this experiment multiple times. It's not like, oh, I wonder what happens if this is done. Yeah. Have you seen Venezuela? Like the poor people of Venezuela have been just run roughshod by their government. So obviously you can't simply create money. The true economy is very important. Like the true economy is the output of goods and services. It's not money. It's literally what is the output of goods and services. Money is simply a way for us to, or anything that you call money is a way for us to conveniently exchange goods and services without having to engage in barter, and also to shift obligations in time. Those are the two reasons that you have money. This thing called money. It's really a database. Money is an information system for labor allocation and for exchange of goods and services and for translating in time. And the quality of that information is a function of it's like you can apply information theory to money, and I think it helps explain why one money system is, or why one action is better than another. And so, if like the money, you just like an internet connection, you'd want something that's high bandwidth, low latency and jitter, and is not dropping packets, does not having a lot of errors in the system. The same is true of money. You want, and really, like you said, what did PayPal really do? That it helped improve the bandwidth, the speed at which money could move. Instead of mailing checks back and forth, which amazingly that was what people did in 2000, you could now do real-time exchange of money, and now you could ship your goods immediately instead of mailing a check and waiting for the bank to clear the check. The ultimate thing that with PayPal, or if it sort of was in the X.com, sort of went less sort of niche payments and more sort of broad financial, would be to simply disintermediate all the heterogeneous COBOL databases out there running on mainframes doing batch processing, and have a single real-time system that was secure and not batch processing, and so. It would just be, from an information standpoint, more efficient, and eventually all the batch processing COBOL mainframes operated by the banks would cease to exist.
Elon Musk believes it would be beneficial for the U.S. economy to go into a recession, and that some bankruptcies need to happen. The federal government released data indicating that GDP fell by 1.5% in the first quarter of 2022. The 1.5% contraction came in sharp contrast to the 6.9% growth in GDP that was reported in the final quarter of 2021. Analysts say this was due to robust U.S. consumer spending on imports, which exceeded spending on exports. Without the trade imbalance, the GDP would have been 3.2% higher. The contraction was also attributed to a slower restocking of goods in stores and warehouses, which reduced 1.1% off the GDP. The economy continues to be burdened by soaring levels of inflation, which has prompted analysts to raise their risks of recession. The Consumer Price Index rose 8.3% in April. What do you think about the interview with Elon Musk and his outlook for the current economy? Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.